Good afternoon. We are offering live interpretation in Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right of your Zoom screen. You will see a globe icon. If you are joining via the Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More or the three dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select Language Interpretation, then choose Spanish and click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreter and not the original speakers, be sure to click Mute Original Audio. Everyone must choose a language. Please do not stay in the default off. Buenas tardes, estamos ofreciendo interpretación simultánea al español durante esta reunión. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en español, haga clic en el botón Interpretation o Interpretación en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla Zoom. Verá un icono de globo terráqueo. Si se está uniendo a través de la aplicación Zoom para smartphone, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic en más o en los tres puntos en la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla. Seleccione Interpretación del idioma, luego elige Español y haga clic en Listo. Si desea escuchar solo al intérprete y no a los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer clic en Silenciar audio original. Todos deben elegir un idioma, por favor no se quede en la posición de apagado predeterminada.
Thank you so much, Karina.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this Parent University that will cover family, mental health, and wellness. This parent workshop, this Parent University, is in partnership with BrightLife Kids. You'll have the opportunity to learn about positive parenting strategies to support stress, anxiety, and big emotions, and get connected to some free mental and behavioral health resources. Bright Life Kids is a Cal Hope program, and they offer personalized support for families in California from kids ages 0 to 12. It's free expert coaching advice. And it's provided, like I said, it's a service that is offered for all families in California, and it's free. And we really are grateful for Bright Life Kids for partnering up with us for this important topic.
Thank you so much, Monica. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much to those of you joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Monica, if you can't see it, just give me a heads up. I'm really excited to be here tonight, and I want to thank the team at Albert Einstein Academies for their excellent partnership and inviting us out to talk with you all. My name is McKenna. I am part of the Bright Life Kids team. I know that your evenings are precious, so hopefully we're going to make this worth it tonight. Feel free to pop questions in the chat box as we go, and I might have some questions for you to make this an engaging session rather than just a lecture tonight. But before we dive in, I just want to acknowledge that the fact that you all showed up to a presentation tonight about your child's mental and emotional health already says something about the kind of parent you are. So thank you for showing up here in this space tonight. Thank you for showing up for your child and being there to support them through all of their different stages and challenges of growing up. So before we really dive in, I want to give you a quick overview of what Bright Life Kids is, and we'll dive in a little bit deeper at the end of this presentation. But I want to make sure you leave tonight knowing exactly what we offer for your family. So as Monica mentioned, we are a free behavioral health coaching program that's built specifically for families in California with children ages 0 to 12 years old, though we can extend support all the way up to 17-year-old. So we are here and available to support you all as parents, to walk alongside you in your parenting journey, equip you with skills and practical strategies for managing the day-to-day and setting healthy foundations for your child. We're really thrilled to partner with Albert Einstein Academy. It's something we really value. And so today is kind of a special part of it because just recently your kids participated in a project that we're really proud of. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But first, let me kind of go through our agenda. So, this is sort of a roadmap for tonight. We're going to talk about why emotional well-being matters so much, especially right now in the middle school years. We're going to show you what your child created. It's a Valentine's Day activity. We'll talk about what it means and how you can kind of keep that energy going at home. And from there, we'll go into some practical tools, some conversation starters, resilience building habits, and some ways you can create connection as a family. And then in the end, of course, I'll share more about how BrightLife Kids can be a resource for your family going forward. Again, I always like these to be conversations, so please feel free to jump in the chat as we go. Okay, so I want to start with our why. So, why are we talking about mental health and emotional wellness for middle schoolers? Ages 10 to 14 are one of the most significant developmental windows in somebody's life. So kids are really figuring out who they are. They're navigating social hierarchies. Those feel incredibly high stakes to them. They're experiencing emotions, maybe even new emotions, intense emotions that they may not have words for yet. And so the habits, beliefs, and the coping skills that the kids build right now during this window, they tend to stick. When we teach our kids to recognize their strengths, to manage their emotions, approach themselves with kindness, those skills are going to become the foundation for everything that comes next. And we want kids to have the ability to recognize those things and ask for help when they need it. Tonight is not about perfection. This is not about being a perfect parent. It's not about raising perfect kids, but it's about giving them tools that's going to support them in their lives and for you as your family. Okay, so kids are super resilient, right? Most of them are doing really okay. But I also want to acknowledge what our kids are up against right now in today's world. Our kids today are navigating social pressures and the need to belong, and that's always been true, but social media has really turned that volume up on that significantly. So they're dealing with academic stress, performance anxiety at younger ages. They're comparing themselves constantly to their peers, to influencers, to these standards that are out there in the world. And a lot of them at the same time are experiencing emotions that they don't know what to do with. Frustration, loneliness, worry, self-doubt. And when they don't have the tools to process those feelings, those things tend to show up in other ways. So they can show up as withdrawal, irritability, avoidance, acting out, etc. So I'm curious to hear from some of the parents. Feel free to put it in the chat if you feel comfortable. What's one thing that you've noticed in your kid lately, emotionally or socially? Even if you don't want to share in the chat box, take a second just to kind of think about that and reflect on it, and sort of keep that in your head as we go, because hopefully a lot of what we talk about tonight is gonna connect back to that. Okay. So this is really one of the biggest takeaways that I want you to have from this presentation tonight. I think it's one of the most important things that we'll hit on. You are your child's most powerful influence. And research really has shown that adults in a child's life are the single biggest factor in how they learn to relate to themselves and their emotions. So when they see you naming your feelings, speaking kindly to yourself after a hard day, modeling asking for help when you need it, they're gonna learn that those things are safe, normal, and that those are worth doing. And again, you don't have to be perfect, but you just have to be, willing to try, and let your kids see that as well. So this kind of brings me to what your kids were participating in last week, which is the self-love letter project. So we know that around Valentine's Day, kids spend a lot of time and energy, and parents too, giving love to people around them. They create cards for their classmates, they give gifts to their friends, maybe they gave you Valentine's and your family members. And that is so beautiful. But Oftentimes the person that's left out is ourselves. And that is one person that every child really deserves to hear kind and loving words from. It's that person who they see in the mirror, right? So that's really the idea behind the self-love letter project. We last week we invited your kids to write a Valentine's Day card to themselves, and I'll show you the prompts that we gave them to do this activity. We didn't want them to think about their friend or a classmate or their crush. We really wanted them to reflect on themselves and what they love and see about themselves. So it sounds simple. But again, when kids practice writing about what makes them proud and unique and reflecting on what they're good at, they're building positive self-talk. And positive self-talk is one of those most powerful protection factors we know for long-term mental health. When a kid has that really strong internal voice that says, I'm capable, I'm worthy, I can handle this. Oftentimes, setbacks don't feel as heavy. They don't feel like the end of the world. Kids know that they can overcome that. Um, we don't want to tell kids they're perfect. We want to help them build that relationship with themselves. It's just kind and honest and learn that they can give themselves grace. So here's what we prompted them on for this self-love letter activity. They were given 4 prompts. They could write, they could use stickers, they could draw, whatever, felt right for them. The prompts were, I feel proud of myself when one thing that makes me special is, something I'm really good at is, my body is amazing because it can. And each one of these prompts is doing something really specific. So the first one is about recognizing effort and not outcome. The second one is about naming what makes you you, what makes you unique. The third builds positive self-talk around competence. And then the fourth, the body one is, I want to talk a little bit about that because I think for middle schoolers, especially, their relationship with their body is in a really tender place, right? Bodies are changing and comparisons are everywhere. And as mentioned earlier, social media is not kind. So we intentionally really frame this prompt around what bodies can do and not what they look like. My body is amazing because I can do a somersault. My body is amazing because it healed after I broke my arm. That's just fundamentally a different relationship with your own body than how I look. And that's something we really wanted to nurture early and make sure that we included in this project. So last Thursday, your students had the opportunity to create these self-love letters. Miss Solario and her team of counselors and interns went into each classroom and facilitated this activity in a really intentional way with students of every grade. And so I want to pass it over to Miss Solario just to talk a little bit about how that activity went and how it was received by the students.
Yeah, thank you. So we did this activity with the middle school students, our sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. I'm working on doing the same thing at the elementary school with the school counselor on that campus. But it was really nice to see our students think about responses. And that's one of the things that stood out to us is when it came to thinking about like what made them unique, like what made them special, they kind of had a hard time with it. And we talked about it and we said, yeah, like you're right. It is hard to think about what makes us unique because we don't think that way. Our brains automatically, and this is for all ages, from, the little ones until the older ones, like they always think about what they can't do. They think about what's missing from their life, what they want more of, what they wish they had. I wish I had this instead of this. And so just thinking about how our kids are already thinking about themselves. So that's what makes this activity a little bit more challenging. But like I said, we processed that with them when we sat in that like not knowing what to write space. And a lot of our students, they had a hard time with some of the prompts, and we're like, you're right, like that is hard because our brains go to what we don't like about ourselves, what we're missing. And so for some of their students, they had to dig deep into what makes them unique and what they're proud of, or when they feel proud of themselves, or what they love about what their body does and what they can do. And so one of the things that we tried with the kids is when they couldn't think about something, as we just said, well, what can your body do? And so even if it was something as simple as like, I can write, I have hands, I have feet, or like, perfect, put that on there. We also asked them to help them think about responses is, what are you really good at? So some of them talked about soccer and drawing, and some of them even said like, I'm really good at taking naps. Awesome. Like, put that on there. Because that just, even though it's something as simple as taking a nap, or really excelling at soccer, or baseball, or basketball, or gymnastics, those are the things that we really want our students to focus on, with the end goal of that positive self-talk and building resiliency. So that they're able to go back to like, wow, well, like I can do this, and I'm so good at this, and I'm so proud of myself when I do this. What was also very special is our students who are really developing their language and feeling words. Like, they were able to respond to these prompts because they were very simple. We even had the worksheet in Spanish, so that was really nice to see. um, our sixth graders did an amazing job with this, and our teachers really helped facilitate the activity for all grade levels. We got some great responses. We're going to display them on campus to remind our students of what they wrote and all the things that they're really proud of, and the things that they love about themselves. So it was a really unique activity, a different approach to Valentine's Day, which we really loved for our kiddos.
Thank you so much, Miss Solario. That's awesome. And I just really appreciate the intentional way that you and the teachers and the other facilitators of the activity really put thought into this. And, it's pretty cool to see that when kids are given the space and the permission to say it and the guidance, they have a lot to say about themselves. And that's really what the activity is all about, is just opening the door to seeing those positive things in themselves. And I personally feel like I'm good at naps as well. So I would definitely put that on my self-love letter. I love that. As simple as that, it can be really small things. So I'm curious, the parents who are here, if anybody's student brought home a self-love letter with them from school. Did you see it? Hopefully it didn't get stuck at the bottom of their backpack.
Mhm.
So I'd love if your student did come home with their self-love letter, or Miss Lario, did you send them home?
We did, and we kept them
Never
because we
mind.
want to display them.
Okay,
So I was
perfect.
gonna
Never
jump
mind.
in, and that's okay. But eventually it'll come home. But I hope that the students talked about it.
Yeah.
That's always a good sign when the kids, especially the middle schoolers, we have parents from parents of students of different ages from TK to eighth grade on the webinar. But especially our middle schoolers, who they talk about school less and less as they grow up. So I hope that they went home and talked about this. And if they didn't talk about it, if you have a middle school student, ask them about it. And like I mentioned, I'm working with the school counselor at the elementary school, to do the same or do something similar at the elementary school.
Amazing. Yeah, so yeah, if you haven't talked to your student about it, but they did participate in this, ask them about it. Ask them what they wrote down for each of these prompts, and learn, how they were reflecting on their strengths and what they like about themselves. And for those of you who are interested in doing this activity at home as well, you can repeat this activity. It doesn't have to be around Valentine's Day. We have digital copies of these love letter templates that you can have, or, I empower you all to come up with your own prompts for your child as well. You know your child best, and you know what's going to really boost their confidence, and strike their interest. We got a close up of one of the letters, and I really loved this one that Miss Lario sent over. I feel proud of myself when I do good in school and get good grades. One thing that makes me special is my love for art. My love for art is one thing that makes me special. Something I'm really good at is art and singing. My body is amazing because it can grow really quickly. And I love that last one because it's so simple. But this student is seeing her body grow and is appreciating it for all that it's doing for her. So I really love this. And again, I really encourage you to keep the conversation going. And so here are some ideas on how to keep that conversation going. So if it does come home, display it. Put it in a place where your child can see it every single day, in the good moments and the bad moments. So it can be, you can post it on the fridge, the bathroom mirror. You probably have artwork from them laying around the house already. So pair this self-love letter with the rest of their artwork, and remind them that this is still true on hard days. Revisit it together. You can do this really casually, and I encourage you to do this really casually, but in a passing moment, hey, remember what you wrote about being good at making people laugh. I noticed that today, when you made your friend so-and-so laugh. That kind of reinforcement is really powerful, and it's just gonna complement like what they wrote down for themselves, and it's going to continue to boost that feeling for them. Third, make it a ritual is one of my favorite suggestions. Like at the end of each week, just ask, what's one thing you liked about yourself this week? It can take 30 seconds. It could be done in the car, or in a transition time from one activity to another. But over time, this kind of rewires how your kid talks to themselves. And that's really not an exaggeration at all. It's actually what happens neurologically when we practice positive self-reflection consistently. So I really encourage that. And then fourth, back to what I said earlier, write one for yourself. Kids learn self-love by watching adults practice it. You don't even necessarily have to show your child the letter. You don't have to make a really big deal of it, but showing them that you're doing it for yourself sends a really powerful message to them. So I encourage you to continue this conversation at home. How else can we model self-love? Again, the power of modeling, really, really important. This is really where the rubber meets the road. So, next time you make a mistake in front of your kid, try saying out loud, I got that wrong. That's okay. I'm going to figure that out. Not, oh, I can't believe I just did that. I got it wrong. I'm going to figure it out. If you're proud of something, let them hear that. I worked really hard on that. I'm really proud of how that turned out. You're allowed to be proud of yourself, and it's going to empower your child to be proud of themselves when you say that as well. All right. And then when you're struggling, it's okay to be vulnerable with your child too. And you can model what asking for help looks like. I'm having a really hard week. I think I need to talk to somebody. Or I need to take a break. I'm having a really hard week. I need to go have a few minutes of alone time, in my room. It's not about performing positivity per se. Kids, I think, are really perceptive, and they can spot things that are disingenuous from a mile away. And so it's really just about being human in front of them with all the imperfection that comes with it, and showing them that you can face that all with kindness for yourself and gentleness for yourself. And hopefully they'll start to believe it's possible for them too. So I'm curious if anyone feels brave, if you want to share, something that you already do, maybe a habit or a ritual that kind of helps with modeling or making connection at home with your child. Feel free to pop it in the chat. We'll revisit it. All right, so building emotional resilience. I want to give you kind of 4 evidence-based things that you can do at home. These are small habits that really have a real impact on your child's emotional resilience over time. So first, name emotions, not behavior. When your kid is having a meltdown, instead of saying, oh, you're being so dramatic, try it. It sounds like you're really frustrated right now. It's actually going to help their brain when we put words to feelings. We really activate that prefrontal cortex, and that's the part of the brain that's responsible for regulation. So, literally, I mean, we say this rhyme all the time: name it to tame it. And you literally want to name it to tame it. We want to help our children have the words and the language to express their feelings out loud. Secondly, praise effort, not outcome. I'm really proud of how hard you worked on that. It is really more powerful than you're so smart. This really shows that outcome-based praise increases anxiety around failure. Kids start to really kind of think that their worth is tied to results. So effort-based praise builds resilience in a much better way than that outcome-based praise. Third, let them feel their feelings. And this is really hard because as parents, we feel the instinct to fix. We always want to jump in and make them feel better. But when your kid is having a difficult feeling, sometimes the best thing you can do is just sit with them in it and don't rush to solve it. Don't minimize, acknowledge, say, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, this feeling won't last forever. But that teaches kids that emotions are survivable, and that is really the trick to unlocking emotional resilience in the long run. And then fourth, keep routines predictable. It sounds super basic, but consistent sleep, healthy meals, downtime, those genuinely regulate the nervous system in ways that nothing else really can. So I know that, kids in elementary school and middle school like to push back against structure constantly, but it is really, really important as much as you can to really keep routines predictable. Okay. Of course, I want to acknowledge that there are times when emotions are really big and it is time to reach out for help. So I just want to acknowledge that it's okay to reach out for help. You know your child the best, and you're going to be the best person to be able to identify when your child needs a larger level or a higher level of support. So watch for persistent changes from your child's baseline behavior. When they're really pulling away from friends or activities that they used to love, when they are more irritable, having more outbursts, maybe shutting down emotionally, expressing hopelessness, or anxiety is starting to interfere with school friendships or daily life. There are resources to help you and your family. BrightLife Kids is one of those. But I also know that your school provides a lot of really great resources and can provide referrals out as well. So take advantage of the resources that we have. I'm just seeing that Mary Santos put in the chat, me and my son both tell each other that we are beautiful and very smart. And I love that. Mary, is that something that you do on a daily basis or a regular basis? I absolutely love that. That kind of is a compliment going back and forth. It's a really beautiful and simple thing. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. So I want to kind of bring us to a warm note because, everything we've kind of touched on, that self-love, the emotional resilience, overall mental well-being, really the foundation of all of it is connection. When your child feels really genuinely seen and loved by you and other adults in their life, everything else is going to get easier. They're going to be more resilient. They're going to be more willing to talk about hard things, and they're going to be better equipped to face whatever comes at them. Your children are at an age where they're discovering independence for the first time. But independence doesn't mean going at it alone. When they know that they are supported and cared for, they're going to be able to be independent and be more resilient in their life. So you don't need really big gestures to build that. Mary's already doing that every day with her son, telling him that you're beautiful and smart. But a few other kind of things that you can make consistent Little things that you can build into your weeks. I really love these four things. A rose and thorn. You might have heard of this exercise. This is great to do at dinner or right before bed, where you reflect on one high and one low from the day. Recommend no phones. It's a no judgment space. Just listen, and just that reflection can be really powerful. We love car rituals. These are, I mean, being in the car is a really low pressure situation. So designate that drive home as a really no pressure debrief zone. Make that a safe space for them to express how they're feeling and experiencing the world. Family love notes. So this ties directly in with the self-love letter activity. Do this on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be a Valentine's Day celebration. Write family love notes. A sticky note, it can be on their mirror in their bathroom, or you can leave it on their pillow. You can leave it in their, their lunch box or lunch bag that's going to school with them. You can take 10 seconds, even just write, I love you, or you're beautiful, or you're so smart. Something really simple. And then, of course, a weekly check-in. How are you really doing? And really mean it. Make sure that it's a safe space, it's a comfortable space, and they really feel like opening up. We want to, make them feel like they have the ability to come to us with anything. So those weekly check-ins, how are you really doing? So curious to hear from anybody else. What else has worked in your family just to create moments of connection? Do you do something consistently that you feel like brings you closer? Curious to hear a little bit about everyone's thoughts. And while you think about that, oh, sorry, Monica.
I could jump in really quick.
Yeah.
I have two students who go to our elementary school. And one of the things that I've been trying to practice is when we're in the car, I don't ask them questions. I just let them talk. And although I have a million questions and I want to know details, um, there's a lot of like they talk and I let them pause and I don't fill that pause with questions because if I just let them pause for a little bit, they'll say more. And I have found that that's way more effective for them to share about their day than me asking question after question. And that's just something that I kind of learned along the way, but that's something that I wanted to pass along to our parents who are on the call. That had
Love
that
that.
those pauses have actually been really helpful when they talk about their day in the car. Because once we
I,
get home,
I love that. And that's where you're getting their genuine responses, right? That's just coming from whatever they want to tell you in that moment. That's really powerful. And we feel like we have to fill silence often. But silence is okay. And sometimes it takes that space just for a kid to start reflecting. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, VM says, great idea. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Hilario. Amazing. All right, so good news. You are not alone as a parent. As there are parents out there struggling with all the same things that you might be encountering at home. Your school is there to support you and provide guidance, and resources. But I want to share a little bit about Bright Life Kids because this is just a really great program that can be a partner for you and walk alongside you in your parenting journey. So, as I mentioned, we do free behavioral health and mental health coaching and have mental health wellness resources for families. All of our services are online, so they're really easy to grab on the go. You can download our app, or you can sign up through our website. But we make it really easy. This is a state-funded resource. California has invested in this type of support for families, and we're so, so lucky that it has. So this is no cost. We don't ask about insurance. We don't ask about income. We're not asking about immigration status. This is a fully accessible resource for every single family in the state. And it's really built specifically for families with kids 0 to 12 years old. Although, as I mentioned earlier, we can go up to 17. But here's sort of what it looks like in practice. 0 to 12 is a really wide age range. But this is just a quick snapshot of some of the things that our coaches support families with. In the young ages, we can help you work with developmental milestones, separation anxiety, tantrums as toddlers. 5 through 8, for any of you who have 5 to 8 year olds, we can work on screen time schedules, developing independence, tough transitions, sibling relationships, sibling rivalry. And then 9 to 12, we can work on social media boundaries, peer pressure, challenging peer relationships, building their self-esteem, etc. So this is just a quick snapshot, but really we are here to support you with the day-to-day things that are challenging about growing up and parenting. And we can work with you as a parent to help you develop skills, and we can also work directly with your child as well to help them build emotional resilience. Oops, this slide is a little bit out of order. I'm going to go right here. So what do you actually get with BrightLife Kids? So really, we want you to utilize our one-on-one coaching. This is really where you get the most out of the program. It's one-on-one with a real-life coach. This is a human being who's very well trained and equipped to support families on a social emotional level. You meet with your coach once a week for 30 minutes. So it's quick and it's really built to fit into busy schedules. And our coaches are amazing, and our coaches are amazing at engaging kids virtually as well. I know that can be a concern for parents. Is my child going to, be engaged in this and be able to participate and focus on this? And our coaches are so amazing at doing this. We also have chat. So if you have any questions in between coaching sessions, or if you're not ready for the coaching sessions yet, you can utilize the coaching chat to get resources. And then we also have a library of digital tools. So this is 400 articles, videos, podcasts on just a wide range of parenting topics. So we have things about peer pressure. We just put out some content around talking to your child about hard things that are going on in the world, having difficult conversations, setting routines, screen time boundaries, etc. And those are available 24/7 for you to just access whenever you need to. Some families even just sign up for BrightLife Kids and utilize the digital tools, and that's totally fine too. We also offer care coordination to capture any additional needs that your family might have. So, if your family maybe has needs that exceed the threshold for coaching, and maybe clinical therapy or something like that might be a better fit, we can get you referred out to an appropriate place. And then we also have a lot of really great community resources. If your family is in need of food, housing, anything like that, we can get you connected. And then we have BrightLife Kids communities, which I really love. And I've heard from a lot of parents that this is a really special space for them. We know that parenting is hard. We know that sometimes you feel alone. And so we've created these communities, which are digital spaces that you can come and connect with other parents and caregivers, sharing common experiences. You can ask questions. You can share your own experiences and swap tips. Our coaches pop in here as well to share some extra coaching tips. And so these are really great spaces, and they're broken up by age group. And then we also have a group specifically for our Spanish speaking families. All right. So that kind of brings me to the end tonight. But I want to end with this. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I think just showing up really just shows how committed you are for your kids. We don't want you to be in crisis to reach out for support. And so that's really why we're here. This is why your school does these parent universities. We're here to help when you need us. But I wanted to just like close with a little something that I said at this, at the start. So self-love is a practice. It's not a destination. It's something that we can grow together. That's true for your kids. It's true for you. So take that with you. And thank you so much for being here tonight. It really means more than you know. If you're interested in checking out BrightLife Kids, you're welcome to use your smartphone to scan the QR code on this screen right here. That'll take you to just a really quick little registration form, and then you're in and you have access to all of those great resources that I just talked about. So I hope this is a helpful resource to you. My door is wide open, and I know the door of your counselor and teachers at your child's school is open as well. Thank you all so much for your time today.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat.
Oh,
If
I'm so sorry. Of course, questions,
That's okay.
please.
I'm also going to type in my email in the chat. I am the school counselor at the middle school. But we also have for our attendees who have students at the elementary school, you also have a school counselor on that site. So I just wanted to make sure that we have all that contact information on here. I will type it in the chat right now so that
Thank
you
you so
have
much.
it. There's a question. Will you have some activities after school for the middle school students to follow up with their mental health? Typically for our activities for middle school students in regards to mental health, are during the school day, especially during our advisory class. At the middle school, we have an advisory period, which is about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on the grade level, every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And a lot of our students engage in activities that have to do with that social emotional learning at the middle school at the beginning of the day. But we don't have anything specific for after school set up right now. But that's something that we can definitely bring up to our team to see what are some ideas that we have for after school.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right.
Okay. Well, my email is on there if you have any questions. And if you have any questions for the counselor at the elementary school, I will put her email in here too. If you need more information about how to get connected with Bright Life Kids, you can email one of us and we can get you connected with those resources. But thank you so much for taking time out of your Tuesday evening. And we appreciate your time. Thank you so much, McKenna, for being here with us today. McKenna also included her email on there, so I will type that in for everyone to see. But if there's anything that you need, please let us know.
Thank you all so much. And thank you, Miss Hilario, for hosting tonight.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your